Alright, I gotta tell you guys a crazy story. So about a week ago, caught a nail in my tire, and I kept meaning to go get it taken care of, and I just didn't have time. All kinds of crazy stuff going on this week, so I just wasn't able to go get it dealt with. And so I planned today to actually go and get this taken care of. Now my son decided he wanted to go to his grandmother's and get some work done, and so he planned for me to go do that without telling me, of course. And so then found out about this yesterday, and at first I was thinking, I don't feel like going out there and dealing with that. I've got other stuff I need to deal with. But I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'll take care of it. So, jump in the car, taking my kids down to go work at the grandmother's house, thinking to myself, you know what? That side of town has a bunch of, cheaper tire type places. And so maybe I find somewhere to get this plug taken care of at a better price. So we'll just I'll go drop them off and I'll go get this handled while I'm down here. Now, on my way, I hear this loud noise while I'm driving, and something starts kind of whipping like under the car. Sounded like something like got stuck. I couldn't tell what it was. So pull over to see what the situation is, and there's a strip of tire that has come off and is literally like whipping the inside of the car. And of course, it's the tire that has the nail in it. So on the one hand, I'm thinking, well, at least it wasn't one of the other tires. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, this is not good because I have a very specialized type of tire for this car, and they're very expensive. And so not only do I have the problem of finding a place that has these things, and probably not going to find one at a discount tire where I could have actually gotten it cheaper, but also they're very expensive and I don't have the money to change this tire right now. Now, under normal circumstances, I'd have freaked out, been upset, all the stuff, right? I mean, if y'all have been following my story, you kind of know the season I'm in. And so this is kind of one of those, like, we just picked up a project literally yesterday, which allowed us to get our rent caught up. And I'm like, under normal circumstances, I'd be like, are you kidding right now? Like, I just now got enough money together to pay the rent, and I don't even know how we're going to take care of the rest of the bills. And now I got to go deal with this tire. Like, what the heck? But today, on this day, I was like, you know what? Let me just be at peace. The Lord has just consistently showed up and provided. Everything we've needed has been taken care of. So I'm just going to trust that somehow this is going to get handled. So I call around. Just as I suspected, nobody has this tire. And so finally I give up. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just going to have to go to the dealership because that's the only place I know that has it. So I call the dealership up. I run over there. Turns out they have the tire, of course. Take it in, and I'm talking to my service rep. Now, my service rep pulls up my account and says, hey, you have tire protection as part of your service plan on your car. Is there, like, I know you said that there's like a strip that's come off of it. With that kind of situation, obviously the protection plan doesn't cover that. She said, but, if you have like a nail in it or anything, it would be covered. Now, if you've been following along here, it just so happened that my tire did have a nail in it, a nail that I would have under normal circumstances taken care of earlier in the week, but I hadn't taken care of it because I couldn't, just due to time, and quite frankly, I wasn't sure how much it was going to cost, and we were waiting for another paycheck before I wanted to spend any money, so it was also kind of a monetary thing as well. And so I tell the girl, I'm like, well, it just so happens that there is a nail in the tire. And she says, okay, great. Give me just a minute. Let me go check this out and see if we can get this thing covered. She comes back a few minutes later and says, hey, because there was a nail in it, we can replace the tire. Big $50 deductible. No big deal. Now, here's the thing I want y'all to catch about this. That particular tire was worn to the point that an entire strip came off. Now, I don't know why it was worn like that, because all the other tires have plenty of tread left on them. So it was really bizarre that one tire was wearing out at the rate that it was. But neither here nor there, right? That tire, the one that the had worn to the point that a whole entire like strip of the tire literally came off. The tire is like coming apart. That tire happened to be the tire that I got a nail in. If I hadn't gotten the nail in that tire, it would not have been covered under the warranty, which means I would have had to pay out of pocket, which means I literally would be out of car right now. I wouldn't be able to drive. And this is the only car we have. So it would have really, really been bad, right? The one car I have would have had a tire that's destroyed that I can't afford to replace right now. And it just so happens that that's the tire that caught the nail in it. And the nail had nothing to do with the strip coming out, just in case you were thinking that was the case, because the nail was in the front and the strip was in the back. So the very tire that I needed to replace, that I did not have the money to replace, the Lord allowed to catch a nail in it so that it could be replaced for something that I could afford, and orchestrated it so that when it happened, it would happen on the exact day that I was on that side of town, on the exact day that I actually had the time to go and get it dealt with, because my daughter was with my wife and my boys were with with their grandmother. Like, the level of things that had to come together for this moment to occur are something that only someone outside of time could have orchestrated. Now, here's why this matters. If you think about the story of Israel when they came out of Egypt, right? And they're wandering around in the desert, and God starts to provide for them with manna. The manna was tremendously inconvenient. The way that God was providing it for them was tremendously inconvenient, because the manna only came at a certain time of day. And they couldn't have meat because there was no meat being provided, and there were no other things, like the things that they were accustomed to, the things that were convenient, the things that they normally had as kind of like part of their daily life. Those things were not present. But do you know what was present? A miracle. God acting in their lives miraculously. They were in the midst of a miracle, but they were complaining about the inconvenience. Today would have been a day that under normal circumstances, I would have complained about the inconvenience. I would have been frustrated and angry and all of the other things that would have reasonably attended the situation, right? But for whatever reason, the Lord gave me the foresight, I think, anyway. I didn't actually catch it like at the moment, but I caught it as things began to unfold, that it is in the midst of the inconvenience, it is in the midst of the difficulty, it is in the midst of the problem that the miraculous happens. And many of us are so focused on the inconvenience. We're working so hard to avoid the inconvenient, the difficulty, the frustration, that we never get to experience the miracle, because the miracle only comes when there's a need. Now, you could look at this and say, well, there's so many other ways that God could have, showed up. Like, he could have blessed you with a car that doesn't have this tire problem, right? He could have, done so many other things. But the truth of the matter is that there's something different that happens relationally. When you have a need, when you are in a desperate place, a place where you are completely helpless and God acts on your behalf, there is something relationally that happens there, a trust that is built in those places that is not built the same way when he provides for you mightily. He gives you the brand new car or the new house or the blessing or whatever the thing is, right? When you get the blessing, it's not the same as when you get the bailout. It's not the same as when you're drowning and he reaches down and grabs your hand and pulls you out and lets you know, son, listen to me, no matter where you are, no matter what circumstance you're in, no matter what difficulty you're facing, no matter how bad it seems, I am always here. I will reach down, I will grab hold of you, and I will pull you out, and you can count on that. When you are at your most helpless, your most hopeless, your most desperate, I am still there. I will not let you drown. This is the foundation that we need to build blessing onto. Because when the blessing goes away, because sometimes in life the blessing goes away. Look at Job. Sometimes in life the blessing goes away. And if you don't have the foundation that God will catch you in your desperation, then you will drown in faithlessness. So sometimes God allows us to experience the inconvenient, the difficult, the desperation, so that he can show us, so he can teach us, so that he can train us, that he's trustworthy, that we can count on him in the most desperate moments, so that when the blessing goes away, during a season where things are down, the chips are down, we won't feel the need to scatter or to return to Egypt like the Israelites, because we have a trust and a confidence that in that moment, in that place of desperation, when everything seems down, that God is still with us, that we are not going to drown, that we can trust him, that we have a firm foundation that he will one day build us back up upon. So if you're in a moment of difficulty or a moment of trial or a moment of inconvenience right now, I just want to encourage you not to fall into complaint, not to fall into hopelessness, but to look eagerly for where the Lord is going to show up. How is he going to show up in this moment? Because he is laying a foundation for you in this place. He's laying a foundation of trust, one that is sturdy enough to stand on and to weather the trials and difficulties of life. Because when you are certain that if you are drowning, when you are at your most helpless, your most hopeless, if you are certain that in that place, the Lord will show up on your behalf, that he is not going to let you drown, then you can endure anything and not be shaken. And that is priceless. To have an unshakable peace is priceless. To have an unshakable certainty of the Lord is priceless, because life is going to be attended by troubles. Life is going to have problems. Life is going to have down seasons. This is a fallen world. We are going to experience difficulty and frustration and pain and suffering. All of these things will attend this life because this is a fallen world. And so the most priceless thing that we can have in this place, in this life, is a peace and a trust in God that is unshakable when everything else in our life can be shaken. Every relationship can be shaken. Everything we own can be shaken. The very land that we stand on can be shaken. But if you have the peace of God, if you have a trust that has been built through consistent relationship, through God showing up in the times when you were the most helpless and the most hopeless, if you have that trust, that foundation, then even when everything else in your life is shaking, you can remain at peace. And that is priceless.